This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com, and today is my special guest. I have former NWA world champion. He's wrestled in Japan for Pro Wrestling 01. He's currently in Major League Wrestling. He's also in PCW Ultra, where he is not only a wrestler, but he is an owner. Josef Samael, the almighty Sheik. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me, Hannibal. I appreciate it.
Well, it's always good to have you on. And fans, if you want to look it up on here, if you want to find out more about the almighty Sheik, a couple of years ago, there's a full career interview I did with him on here that's had very good feedback. And then we did another one last year. But today, we're going to be talking a lot about this event coming up, PCW Ultra, All Systems Go, coming up October 22nd. The big return show. How has it been? This has been the longest you've been off promoting, probably since you started PCW Ultra.
Yeah, without a doubt, this is the longest. I mean, it's going on, I think it's going on 18 months now. So it's crazy. We just want to get back to work, just like everybody else. We want everything to get back to normal, and we just want to do it in the safest way possible and dot all our I's and cross all our T's. This way we can continue running past this.
So how has it affected you being off so long, as this was a major income stream for you?
Yeah, absolutely. PCW is a major income stream for me. I still have MLW. I've done some work with them. But, it is what it is. Everybody's kind of in the same boat. We all have our I've got josefsamael.com and PCWultra.com, and you could get shirts and cards and, trading cards and all types of stuff. So, if you guys feel inclined, support the people that, that you appreciate as performers, as artists. This way we can stick around. This way we could live to fight another day.
Now you're going to be involved in a tag team match on this event. You're currently the champions with Jacob Fatu, one of the hottest wrestlers on the scene today. Could you talk a little bit about your match coming up October 22nd?
Yeah, sure. So we're wrestling against the new LAX or 5150. Not sure what everybody's calling them these days. Danny Limelight, who's been seeing a lot of time on New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Slice Boogie, who's like a breakout star. I believe it was last year's or maybe the year prior, because last year with COVID, but I believe he was the last Southern California Rookie of the Year. He's a stud, big kid. He could talk, he could work. He was trained right. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty crazy match. Me and Jacob Fatu, we just lose our minds when our music hits. We go out there and we go bonkers, ball to the wall, bananas all night. So the fans know what to expect from War Beast. They know what to expect from Jacob and myself as Contra Unit or War Beast, or whatever you want to call us. But October 22nd is going to be. It's going to be the same old. So we're gonna get in there, and we're gonna have a lot of fun, play with a lot of toys. There's going to be blood. There's going to be fire. There's going to be a lot of collision. There might be a street fight all over the place. It might go straight to the streets. But that should be a good one. Definitely stand alone on the card as far as that style. Yeah, man, should be a real fun match. Looking forward to it.
And of course, Ron Simmons is going to be appearing on the show, WWE Hall of Famer. How did this come about? He's not someone that I would expect on a PCW Ultra show, but certainly first Black WCW champion, one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, the PCW legends are, my criteria of what a legend is. So like I've had Muda, I've had Stan Hansen, I've had Haku, Animal, Mick Foley, Terry Funk, on and on and on and on. So, I mean, you can kind of get the gist of these guys are big time tough guys, hard nosed, no nonsense wrestlers. And I think Ron Simmons does fit in that category. He is branded a WWE guy, and we've had WWE guys. But Simmons just is that special two-sport athlete. He's just an incredible Hall of Famer. He's had tremendous fame with that damn catchphrase. And like you said, he was the first African-American world heavyweight champion for WCW. And, we're just really, really excited to have him, as we're always excited to have that caliber of star power involved in our show. And he's brought to us by the LAX Fan Fest. And there'll be a PCW Ultra booth this year at the LAX Fan Fest, and that's going to be on September 25th at the LAX Hilton. And PCW will be there. It'll be myself and Jacob Fatu, and we might have a couple more surprises as we go. But the LAX Fan Fest, they're partnering up with us and sending us some really, really incredible legends. And we got some guys scheduled for our January 28th return, which will be our 6-year anniversary.
Wow. And your anniversary shows are usually your biggest of the year, but I imagine with the 18-month break or whatever it's been, that this one will probably sell out, as most of the PCW Ultras do.
Yeah, we're just hoping that by January, I mean, I booked out pretty far because I kind of anticipated, everything wasn't going to be back to normal so quickly. So I booked out. I started in October and then figured we'd return in January. It gave us plenty of time to promote, plenty of time to get all of our ducks in a row. But I agree. I think that this 6th-year anniversary, especially because we weren't allowed to have a 5th-year anniversary, which would have been last January. We were all on lockdown still. I think this next one in 2022 January is going to be out of control. So hopefully we can meet the demand of tickets. If we can do that, that'll really make sense with having a really, really star-powered show stacked to the gills. And if not, obviously that'll kind of, handcuff us on who and what we can do on that day if we're not allowed to have our normal amount of fans.
You're going to have a women's championship match. Ruby Reyes, who is the current champion, against Viva Van, also known as Victoria Vaughn, who has been in AEW recently doing some appearances.
Yeah, that's true. Viva Van is starting to pick up a lot of steam. She's becoming a top babyface, female or male, in Southern California. The people are really, really behind her. She's got a lot of support, which is really nice to see. It makes for an easier match as far as booking the match. You've got a definite heel and a definite babyface. PCW Ultras is more old school in that regard. But Ruby Reyes is the equal opportunity ass kicker, and Ruby Reyes is just an unstoppable force. I mean, she basically kicked the doors in a PCW Ultra. She attacked Sumi Sakai, who was our champion. She demanded a spot. She wrestled Sumi Sakai. She beat Sumi Sakai. And because of COVID, she has not been able to defend that title. So she is chomping at the bit. So Viva Van is going to be in for a long, long night. She better pack a lunch, because Ruby Reyes is without a doubt one of the toughest females in the business, if not the toughest. And she could probably whoop a bunch of the males' asses too. So yeah, that's going to be one to see. And there's a little animosity between those two. I've been watching them online, and they're hitting below the belt, and it's getting pretty rough out there. So I'm really looking forward to that. That might turn into something a little out of control.
Yeah, they're having a Twitter war for the fans that don't know. Ruby was saying that Viva was ducking her due to being too stiff or something. It's getting catty for sure.
Yeah, it's getting catty. I'm getting phone calls, and all that, and we're just going to handle it in the ring. It's going to, I'm not trying to be chauvinist or nothing, but I'm not getting any phone calls from the guys. You know what I mean? So if you want to be in this wrestling business, this is the wrestling business. We don't play around. This is a tough business. You can't have thin skin. So these girls are going to go out there, and I'm pretty certain they're going to beat the hell out of each other. And I'm going to have a front row seat at the monitor. That's for sure.
Now, of course, PCW Ultra, probably your most popular woman of all time was Tessa Blanchard. There's many of her PCW matches on this channel, as well as the PCW Ultra YouTube channel. She's been highly controversial over the past few years, but it appears she's been trying to make amends. Any chance of seeing her back maybe as the years continue?
Actually, yes. Spoke to Tessa yesterday, and there's a lot of great things happening in her life right now, and things are all gearing towards a big culmination for her. And I'm not any person to divulge any information or anything, but you will see Tessa Blanchard inside of a PCW ring once again. That's 100% certain. She will definitely wrestle inside of a PCW Ultra ring again. We're just not sure exactly when, but it'll be soon.
Now, of course, the main event for the show is Alex Hammerstone, the PCW Ultra champion, against Chris Dickinson, who is a regular in New Japan Pro Wrestling, ROH, and other companies. You've got to be excited for that one. And what are your thoughts on Hammerstone, another one of the hottest wrestlers out there today?
Well, that match, I'm really excited for that match. It's what I wanted to do with that match is I wanted to have at least one of the matches from the show that we got canceled carry over. And what better one than our main event? So we could have almost just to pay back that original main event that got canceled. Everything else obviously couldn't be put back exactly in place, but I'm pretty happy about that. I wanted that main event, and it's going to be a great one. As far as Hammerstone, hardest worker in the room, just an amazing, talented, hard-working athlete. And it's really, really funny because Hammerstone and Fatu were two PCW guys that we just really put, the company on their backs. And it's amazing that, the amount of fanfare they're getting now. It's amazing the eyes they're opening up now. It's almost like somebody saw these two guys and said, man, that's money. I wonder who that would be. But anyway, it's a real cool thing to see these guys succeed. Watching them succeed makes me feel great. I had a little hand in it, and I can't take any credit for their hard work. I can't take any credit for their talent. But I can take a little credit for just steering them the right way, telling them to go left instead of right, telling them to go up instead of down, telling them to tweak something, telling them to do something in this point instead of that point. And, having veterans in your corner is a very, very valuable thing. And whenever people ask me, how did I get to learn this, or how did I know this, or whatever, somebody taught me. Somebody taught me along the way. So every single piece of knowledge I have in the professional wrestling business, I either learned it by making a mistake, or I learned it by a veteran telling me and smarting me up. So, that's our job. It's to guide these young guys. You just have to speak to them in the language that they understand, and you have to speak to them logically. And those two guys, Hammerstone and Fatu, are just I really can't convey how proud of those guys I am. They're just they're my prize pupils.
Yeah, probably future WWE champions, both of them down the road, should they choose to go that route.
Agree.
You got JTG also on the event taking on Madison. I think this might be one of the first times JTG has been with you guys, unless he was on in the past. But could you tell us a bit about this match?
Yeah, this is the first time we have JTG with us. we were gonna book Crime Time, but obviously, Shad passed away, we had plans for them, then COVID and all that, and all the problems that happened. But this is JTG's first time with us. Steve Madison is returning. He's got a victory over Stephan Bonner, albeit DQ. Steve Madison is a really, really interesting wrestler. He's a real sleeper. Like, people don't know a lot about Steve Madison. Steve Madison spent a lot of time with Riki Choshu in Japan. He spent a lot of time in Japan with a lot of big name guys. He's wrestled a lot of big name guys. And Steve also was trained by Steve Kern. And he was instrumental in rehabbing Eddie Guerrero back from injuries. He was instrumental in training a lot of the women for WWE. He also trains currently with TJ Wilson and Natalia. So Steve Madison is a brilliant wrestling coach. He's a very well accomplished wrestler, and he just does everything the right way. He's just a great wrestler. Somebody that you want to stick in there with other people and kind of get a temperature on them. Steve will be that guy to tell you. So Steve's a really big asset for us, and I think the fans are going to be pleasantly surprised when they see his wrestling ability, because, like I said, Steve is. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be bold when I say this, and a lot of people might not agree, or a lot of people might not understand, exactly what I'm saying. Steve Madison is one of the best wrestlers in the world. People just don't know it. He's just phenomenal. He does all those little things. And obviously JTG is a TV ready, very experienced WWE performer. This is going to be a really interesting match. It's going to open the card, because I just see that match as just such a great wrestling match with two very credible guys. So we're going to open the card with that match, and I think the fans are going to be very impressed with it.
And there's going to be a PCW Ultralight Championship match involving 4 performers, double shot duel. Maybe you can explain to us what a double shot duel is.
Yes, absolutely. So our Ultralight Championship was vacated, and a lot of people, they just throw out tournament. And tournaments are very difficult to pull off. They, if somebody doesn't want to see the tournament, it kind of bogs down the whole show. Doing it in multiple shows, then you got to tell the story every time. We don't have the luxury of TV. So tournaments are very difficult to pull off. So I wanted to do something special. I wanted to do something innovative. And I was thinking about it, and I started writing down all of the light heavyweights that are in the area, because I really wanted this belt to be to really represent the Southern California young guns, these young hungry wrestlers in Southern California, and the entire West Coast, to be fair. These guys there's just a different pace out here. California wrestling is very fast paced because it's highly influenced by lucha. So I wanted to start really showcasing these younger guys. So I picked 4. One guy's from Arizona, a couple guys are from Vegas, and one guy is a local to Southern California. And I'm sorry, the first guy's in Arizona. This is a long answer. I apologize. I'll get to the point. But so what I thought was, we'll pick 4 of these guys. The last one we pick will be able to have the ability, the privilege to pick a partner. He'll pick a partner. It'll be a tag team match, and directly after that tag team match, that tag team will actually have to face each other. So it's an innovative little thing. It's 2 matches that have been done a trillion times in wrestling, in a tag team match and a singles match, and we just paired them together and created a new and unique match. And I feel that this match will be a way to settle things in the future. If we ever have multiple competitors, I think this is a great way to settle things, especially if we're looking for something in a tournament style. More fast-paced, you get your answer that night. There's a lot of drama with who you're going to pick. You got to face that person. There's a lot of cool things that could happen in this, and I'm very, very much looking forward to this because these guys, only 3 of the guys have worked for us prior, but nobody has really been in an official match. If I am correct, maybe a couple little opportunities here and there, but this one is for all the marbles. This one is for the Ultralight Championship. And these 4 guys, when you see these 4 guys, they are some of the greatest high flyers, and they're super young, very, very young, but seasoned already, super crisp, very confident competitors. And I think the fans are going to really enjoy this one. It's going to be a good one.
And for the fans that don't follow the PCW Ultra social media, which of course they can search up easy enough online, front row is completely sold out from my understanding already, and there's only a handful or so of second row tickets left. So they could go to pcwultra.com to find that ticketing website.
Yeah, that's correct. And, we're also doing for the local fans, we're also doing a contest. Whoever buys row 1 and row 2 all the way up until tomorrow midnight is going to be entered into a PCW Ultra contest, and there will be a huge prize pack to the winner. We'll just draw somebody at random. We have a few second row tickets left, and recently as this morning, we had to drop 500 tickets off of our seating chart in order to accommodate the new California mandates. So this one is going to be a pretty high demand ticket. So you want to get your tickets fast. Don't wait till the end on this one, because this show's definitely going to sell out. I mean, we're usually drawing in the range of anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 people or more. And this one is going to be capped off at about 700. So, it's going to be a little bit more than half of our normal crowd.
Of course, Kevin Sullivan's going to be there managing the Blood Hunter against none other than Scorpio. You have a long history with Kevin Sullivan. He was managing War Beast for a while in PCW Ultra as well. But how did you first meet Kevin?
I met Kevin the first time in Florida, and I don't know what show it was, but Kevin was on the show and he was in front of the curtain. And I remember going back, or, he was watching through the curtain, and I remember going back through the curtain, and Kevin said, if this was 1970, you boys would be driving Cadillacs. And I was like, whoa. And, after that, every time I would see him, I'd sit under the learning tree. And then I was privileged to work with him. And, man, I just saw he was dipping. I saw I said, hey, Kev, I'm going to go to the store. You want me to grab you some dip? You want me to grab a 6-pack? He said, yeah, I don't dip. I dipped with him. I drank a 6-pack with him. We went out there and had a ball. And we've had a friendship ever since. That's going on. Man, it's got to be going on over a decade now, maybe even longer. I can't even remember. But Kevin's been very instrumental in the business end of my career. He's been very instrumental in in pretty much everything, but really the business end. How to book a card, how to pace matches, how to create characters. Just really the A to Z to wrestling. And now I just am real. It just is very, very satisfying to see Kevin just sitting down and watching. And he just sits down and watches, and he doesn't direct me anymore. He doesn't tell me what to do, what not to do, because he's taught me what he's taught me. And I've taken all of his lessons, and I've created a very successful independent. And I know Kevin's very proud of that, and I'm very proud to have him as a mentor. So Kevin's been with me for a long while now, and I assume he's going to be with me for a long while to come.
Cass would like to know, how did the whole Contra faction come together in MLW?
It was basically almost like they were looking for characters for a movie, and they picked which characters they wanted for the movie. Obviously, the faction was influenced with our styles, and first Hammerstone was signed to MLW, completely unrelated to Contra. And then Jacob Fatu and myself were next signed. And, we are War Beast in PCW Ultra. So they took that act and they brought it over to MLW. And we developed this concept with their creative and our performing it. And you always, even when you create something, the performer brings his own mojo to the table. And so you hope for something, but it's not always what you expected, and sometimes it's not as good as you expect, and sometimes it's better than you expect. And I think in this instance it was better than they expected. So we just fit like a glove. Of course, me and Jacob had a long-standing relationship, and we had worked together, for years at that point. And we just knew each other. We knew how to work together. We knew how to not step on each other's toes. We knew how to stay in each other's lane. We knew, what I brought out of the team, what Jacob brought out of the team, and how we both added, our own special sauce, and it was uniquely different. So so when MLW pulled us in for Contra unit, we had Gotch there, and then they started adding a few new members, and it's just been a ball, man. It's just been a fun ride ever since. And I think I think Contra is going to be an antagonist group for years and years to come. I think it's a heel factory, and it's done in a very, very brilliant and unique way. And I feel it's also performed very well. And it's super cool, and I'm just grateful to be part of it. It's you hope to be part of something that is successful. There's it would be really, really terrible if you were locked into something and something was put on you and it didn't work. It's up to the performers to make things work, but sometimes you get terrible ideas. And this was just a kind of a win-win. It was a great idea, and I believe the talent's great, and I believe the company's happy, and I know the talent's happy. So that's, all you can really hope for.
Naval Sailor would like to know your thoughts on the War Chamber match with the Von Ericks that you have. Of course, the Von Ericks, very popular on this channel.
Oh man, that was a real fun match. Easy in a way because you don't have, much space, but hard in a way because you don't have much space. I just remember it being so damn hot, and I ended up getting cut on the cage door, and I just remember it bleeding and bleeding and bleeding, and almost to the point where I was starting to get a little concerned. I bled quite a bit in wrestling, but this one was one of my bigger ones. It was a gusher, and it lasted a long time. So hot and bloody, and obviously it was an honor to work in Texas with the Von Ericks, and especially with Kevin Von Erich, who was involved in that. But I would have liked to ended up in a one-on-one with Kevin Von Erich. Let the two older guys lock horns. That would have been nice for me. I would have liked that a lot.
Yeah, you guys are really hot in the whole Texas state as far as MLW goes. I understand the September event in the Dallas area is completely sold out. Is that right?
It probably is. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have the up-to-date ticket sales. It probably is. I don't think I'm going to actually be at that event. I'm going to be at a separate MLW event that night.
Okay, I see. And you also recently had a sellout at the ECW arena, so obviously still a hot ticket. Mark would like to know, I don't know how closely you follow other California indies, but he's wondering, how has attendance been for California since the fans have been allowed to come back to live events? Has it been a good rebound, or is it still not at pre-pandemic levels?
Well, the last shows that were run, we didn't have any mandates. Not us. We haven't run yet. This is our first show we're running is October 22nd. But the last shows that ran that drew really well were PWG and GCW, and both of those sold out, but they didn't have any mandates on them. So I would imagine the demand is there. It's obviously there. And the way our ticket sales have been, the demand is there. But we are going to be affected by the mandate. I'd imagine, I believe GCW has another show coming up maybe next week or something like that. I assume they're going to get affected. I believe the mandate's 100% in place. Either they have to lower their attendance or they have to show proof of vaccination and or proof of a COVID test within the last 48 hours. That's kind of difficult to assemble for a lot of independent companies. A lot of independent companies don't have a big staff in place. And when you're dealing with, 1,000+ people, you need a staff in place to be able to accommodate that mandate, as well as getting your fans in a safe and orderly fashion and quickly. But we personally at PCW Ultra, we personally have a large staff, and we have a great front end staff that actually we have multiple security. I think we have a 10-person security team, which is a legit security team. It's a security company, and these guys are massive. So we've got about 10 security guys. We've got a whole front end crew, a separate front end crew. So we're gonna hope for the best. But to answer your question, I think the demand is there. I don't think the demand is going anywhere. I think it's only going to get larger. It's the mandates that are going to hold us back, and hopefully, we can get past this pandemic and we can get back to the fun life that we all were having prior, but also in a safe way. So we're all safe and healthy.
There was a post from you yesterday, I think, about Wrestle Summit 2022. Can you give us any hints about what this is all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So Wrestle Summit is a concept I came up with a few years back, and I ran the first one in, I can't remember the exact year. It might have been 2017. I can't remember exactly. Maybe 2018. So I ran the first one in Los Angeles, and that included the Wrestling Revolver. It included MCW from Australia, Impact Wrestling, PCW Ultra, Defy, on and on and on. And then we ran a second one in the following year as a 2-night. And the first night was in Seattle, and I believe the second night was in Portland. So we did those two, and that was Defy, PCW, and Progress from the United Kingdom. So this one is going to be Wrestle Summit 2022. And if everything, I don't have a date yet or anything like that, but I'm looking towards the spring. And what it's going to be is basically the same, second verse, same as the first. We are going to have multiple companies under one banner. And we're basically just going to have a Wrestle Summit. It's going to be like a Lollapalooza for wrestling, and it's going to have multiple companies. We're going to showcase each company with matches, and it's just a really fun event. Tons of vendors. It's like a big expo, and just fans from all different areas. People flying in from all over the country, out of the country, and it's going to be a really great event. I haven't picked all of the companies yet. I do have one company that is a huge deal. It popped me. So, you kind of have to base it around something that the fans are going to holy shit over, So this one is charted to be a big deal, just like the other ones. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be in 2022 and probably looking towards the spring as of right now, like I stated earlier.
What would be your goals for PCW Ultra as time goes on? You seem to have been running about quarterly prior to the pandemic. Do you plan to keep it like that or expand into other states or other towns? What's your ideal situation with your company?
Well, we're always looking for other opportunities. We're always looking for partnerships. We're always looking to expand. It just has to be right. It just has to make sense. We've had things on the table before where, companies want to work with us or companies want us to take over something that they were doing, and logistically, it just doesn't work. If it's going to be a whole bunch of work and a little bit of money, we have to make everything worth it. But currently we're running quarterly. And the reason for that is pre-pandemic, our shows are just so big. And they're so expensive, but they're so large as far as, drawing 1,200 plus people. It takes a lot of promotion to get all those people in the door. So unless you want to pull your hair out and, run a show and get it again and run a show and get it again and run a show and get it again, we all need time to rest. We want to do this in a way that it's easy for everybody involved. We're not trying to destroy our crew. But I think the actual plan that I'm working on currently is running these major shows and then running little shows. So I'll probably be running little local shows. I just haven't really figured out who, what, when, where, and why, especially with the pandemic. So right now, my main focus is on October 22nd. We're going to return with anniversary show in January. And in between that time, I'm going to be plotting and planning and figuring things out for smaller events. I've made some brilliant partners over the last few months. So many people are just coming out of the woodwork wanting to help PCW and telling me how much they believe in this company and how I can't let it fall. And that is just incredible to me. And when people walk into that building and they're in awe, just to know that, this thing was built on the blood, sweat, and tears of just such a brilliant crew. It's an all hands on deck sort of thing. And I know I do the majority of everything, in between shows, but day of show, man, we just got a whole bunch of brilliant people just kicking ass. And, I'd like to get those people to work more and more and more. And I like to have a bunch of shows, but all that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money. So currently, short answer, we're working on October 22nd and anniversary. And we keep your eye out for some smaller PCW shows coming out in the future with minimal production.
Yeah, because you would have to hire more staff and it would become a lot more complicated to grow bigger, which you might be able to do at some point. But
Yeah, we do it right. I mean, if we just wanted to be a fly by night and just figure it out when we get there, we actually have people in all the positions. We actually do it properly. We actually promote, in a big way. So, and that comes with, developing commercials and artwork and a street team and, on foot patrol and hitting all the big events and the websites and all the, it's a lot, as you very much know. And these shows are so large that not only are they a lot of moving parts and a lot to accomplish, but also very, very expensive.
Yes, that is true. Pubert would like to know, is Joey Ryan blackballed from PCW due to all the allegations surrounding him? I don't think he wrestled for you guys to begin with.
No, he was there. We had him once, I think, against Jeff Cobb. It's not for me to blackball anybody. I know that I've seen people get blackballed, and I know other people have tried to blackball me. That's not for me to decide. I pretty much feel like the wrestling business has blackballed him. I don't really know much about his story. I saw things online. I saw the Me Too stuff. I don't know what's real, what's fake, what's blown up, what's not. I don't know the severity. A lot of it was splintered online, and I don't really keep up with all that stuff. It's really difficult too, because if you kind of got to, know everybody you're working with in this day and age, because, you just book somebody and you're doing it just, hey, that guy I've seen wrestle. I've seen him on shows. I think he's good. Let me book him. You really, really got to do your homework on guys as far as, all of the Me Too stuff is concerned, because you obviously don't want to have any of that stink rubbing off on your show. You don't want to reward people that have done terrible things. But me personally, I don't want to be the judge and jury either. That's for the courts to decide. That's for, if he did something criminal, then you should take him to court and figure that out. I believe the court of public opinion has tried him, and they've given him the death penalty or the blackball penalty or whatever. But again, like I said, that's not for me to decide. And I know that if we did try to do business with him, which we haven't, it's not like we want to. I'm just saying, I believe if we did, our fans would revolt. So that would obviously be somebody that, it wouldn't be good business for us to do financially or morally. So I guess he's blackballed.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Ellsworth have huge revolts from the fans, and he has lesser accusations than Joey Ryan, so probably if you want to stay away from controversy.
Yeah, staying away from that. We're trying to sell tickets. We're not trying to drive fans away, that's for sure.
David would like to know how you would compare PCW to ECW.
I would say that PCW has elements of ECW. I believe ECW influenced, the entire business. But there's a lot of things that are, if I had to say, what PCW Ultra was best compared to, I would say Florida Championship Wrestling. I mean, Florida Championship Wrestling really influenced ECW, and Florida Championship Wrestling really influenced Puerto Rico. And, Puerto Rico and ECW were both really blood and guts. We're not really blood and guts. War Beast tends to go on that violent side. The Blood Hunter tends to go on that violent side. But we're not like a deathmatch company by any means. We do have hardcore, but hardcore in terms of Terry Funk, Bruiser Brody, Puerto Rico, hardcore in terms of, passionate, balls to the wall, stadium style matches and fights and things like that. We don't do anything like illogically, like, hitting people with light tube or something. I don't understand what that's supposed to do to somebody. It's like an eggshell. We don't do things like that. We do use steel chairs. We do use things that hurt pretty bad. So that if you got hit with a steel chair in a bar, I'm sure you'd be able to feel it. But if somebody hits you with the fluorescent light tube in a bar, I don't know that you really care much.
I did see you with about 15 of those things sticking out of your head in that one match. That looked pretty painful. I don't even know what those were, but ow.
Yeah, those were barbecue skewers, and ow is right. But the thing about those barbecue skewers, that had never happened to me before in my life, and the thing that hurt it wasn't driving them into my head. You would think that would hurt, but that didn't hurt too bad. It wasn't, pulling them out. That didn't hurt too bad. It was when they were hanging and they were swapping or flopping. Holy moly, did that hurt? So, I just wanted to get those things out of my head as quickly as possible. But like I said, it didn't hurt going in, but man, it hurt when it was in. Not looking forward to doing that ever again. But I might use that on somebody else. That's for sure.
Yeah. This is a question you answered in your long interview with me that people could look up, but maybe you could give a short version of what happened with the story of you in the NWA world title, a fan is asking.
Yeah, sure. So this like you said, it's been kind of talked about to death. I don't hold any animosity with any of those guys. I really, truly, honestly couldn't care any less. But the guys involved, and I'm not even going to name their names. The guys involved just had a completely different idea of business that they wanted to do. And I had a completely idea of business that I wanted to do. And we were both told exactly what we wanted to hear. And we both moved forward on what we were told. And when we both got to the crossroads of where we were, we met, we were like, oh, what the hell? I'm doing this. And they're like, well, I'm doing that. And it just exploded. And it was people that were working in completely different directions. And it was two camps of people. One camp and the other camp was me by myself. It was two camps of people that really had no hope of doing business together. And I've been accused of certain things that I never really dove too deep in. And I never accused those people of the things that they did. But I can assure you that everything they accused me of, I was probably mostly guilty of. But everything I was mostly guilty of, they did the same exact thing. So, I'm not trying to say I'm right. I'm trying to say it was 10 years ago. And I acted a certain way that I would act exactly the same way today. I was taught in wrestling, when somebody rips you off, to not take it lying down. I didn't. I was told to stand up for myself. I did. I was told not to back down when I was being taught how to wrestle. I didn't. And neither did they. So it just was something that was never going to work. It wouldn't work today. And the funniest thing is, everything they accused me of, they ended up doing the same thing on the next part of the feud. They dropped the belt, they left, and they didn't want to have nothing to do with anything. So it was really, really funny how I was accused of some things, but exactly what they did was kind of, it was okay, but whatever. It didn't affect my life as much as it affected them. They made a whole documentary on me. They've been talking about it for years. I never really talk about it. I never bring it up. It doesn't really affect my life. And my life wouldn't have been better if I made a different decision. My life is fantastic. It's exactly the way I want it. I wouldn't change a thing. We all have regrets. We all have, whatever. But, I don't really think I would do anything different, to be honest.
What do you think about the NWA keeping the title on Nick Aldis for so long? It seems like the last match that really had any popularity that he was in was against Cody Rhodes several years ago, but they just keep running with him for whatever reason.
I don't really have a comment really on that. I mean, if a company decides to go with a certain person, that's their decision. It's almost like, you're playing with your own toys, and that's the one you decide to be your best guy. I've never met Nick Aldis. I don't believe I've met him in person. I could have, but I don't believe I've ever met Nick Aldis. I don't think he's a bad wrestler. I think he's a good wrestler. I think he's exactly what they're looking for, as far as what their idea of an NWA World Heavyweight Champion is. Obviously, he's exactly what they're looking for, because they've had him as champion for quite a while now. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on him as a person, because I don't know him. And as a wrestler, I think he's competent. I think he's good on the mic, and I think he's confident. He's competent in the ring. I don't know if he's a draw, because I've never used him on a show. I don't know if he spikes the needle or if he doesn't. I've really no idea. I don't know.
There's a few comments about Terry Funk on here. David's wondering if you know how Terry Funk is doing. You probably had the last match that he was ever involved with. It is on the PCW YouTube channel as well as the Hannibal TV. He refereed a tag team match that you were involved with, and you actually got into it with him on that match.
Yeah. We had Terry Funk in PCW Ultra, and there was no way I wasn't going to touch Terry Funk. You know what I mean? I mean, we had Muda in, and I didn't wrestle Muda. I'm not trying to wrestle everybody that comes in. I'm not that type of guy. But you better believe when Terry Funk comes in, that's my guy, because he wrestles the same style, or I try to emulate the style he created, because he's a god of wrestling. But Terry, the last I heard, there was a lot of stuff on the internet about him and being in a facility and all this stuff. It's true, he was in a facility. He was having some health issues. During those health issues, I would speak to him every once in a while, not weekly or anything, but I would check on him, and just see how he's doing and what's what. And his cognitive ability was in a decline, and I mean, what would you expect from somebody who's wrestled as long as he's wrestled, who's basically up the ante in style over and over and over? I mean, he was doing moonsaults. He started doing moonsaults in his 50s. He had that huge hardcore run that was long and brutal. So that's to be expected. But he always sounded good and in good spirits. I spoke to Kevin Sullivan recently about Terry, and he said that Terry was doing much better, and he's actually going to get out of that facility. And the facility was because he was having some issues. It was rehab stuff. It wasn't like cognitive. So obviously he was having some difficulties cognitively, but because he was in the facility for PT and things of that nature. So I believe he was. I haven't spoke to Kevin about it again. I've spoken to Kevin multiple times, but I haven't spoken to him about Terry. I believe the last report was he was on the road to going back home. So we all hope that that's the case, and we obviously hope the best for Terry Funk, who is probably the nicest guy in all of wrestling and the craziest son of a bitch you ever want to meet. I just really, really, really love Terry Funk, and I just appreciate him so much, and always good well wishes and good vibrations for Terry Funk. He's just somebody that he's just done so much, and he did so much for PCW just appearing for us. It was just amazing.
Yeah, and I do think you will have that, be able to say that you were the last company he worked for, because it's safe to say his daughter probably isn't going to let him wrestle again or be a referee for that matter.
Yeah, I would imagine that Terry's wrestling days, not by his, not by his doing, but I'm pretty sure that he's going to not be allowed to come out and play anymore.
If there was any team that's active today in any company that you and Fatu could wrestle, who would that be and why?
Well, I mean, I would say the Young Bucks, and we've wrestled pretty much everybody, and I would say the Young Bucks, and simply for the fact that they're over, and the people would get behind it, so it would be an easy night, and we'd get plenty of sympathy off of them, and I would imagine it would be the highest paying match that I can think of. And really, at the end of the day, that's the name of the game, right? It's like you're trying to get the biggest money matches possible. So, it would be against the Young Bucks, and I don't know, man. It would be something to see.
We've seen that AEW works with Impact and NWA. Could you see an allegiance with AEW and MLW at some point down the road?
AEW and MLW having an allegiance, it's possible. In this business, everything's possible. You always say, "Oh, that'll never happen," and then it happens. So, anything's possible. As far as AEW and PCW Ultra having an allegiance, I'm almost positive that'll never happen because of their alliance with Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, which is kind of a difficult pill to swallow in the monopoly sense of it all, because it's like, so a competing company can get a star off of TV because the star can work. Work for other companies, but he can't work for your company because he's working with that company across the street. I mean, that's kind of a hard pill to swallow. So, but pro wrestling is like that. I mean, it's a good old boy network. It's your buddies. It's who are the cool kids. It's this and that. I just do my own thing, man. I just do my own thing, and I compete with myself, and I try to draw a big house every single time. And I know that I got to get my guys in front of as many eyes as possible. I got to get my company in front of as many eyes as possible, and I got to sell as many tickets so I can have another show. So that's really all I care about.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us about MLW and PCW, which is going to be a huge show, October the 22nd. All systems go. Where can people follow you online, and as PCW Ultra as well?
Yeah, so PCW Ultra is going to be at pcwultra.com, and all the socials, everything is all linked there. And then me personally, I'm at josefsamael.com, and that's spelled Josef. Samael is spelled Samael. josefsamael.com, and just like before, it's all the socials, everything is connected to that, so you can find me anywhere. But yeah, check me out at josefsamael.com. Buy a t-shirt, support. Same thing with PCW Ultra. Buy some merch, support. These are a bunch of great people in this company. There's a lot of people that really, really count on this company, and company's really, really good for professional wrestling. We put on a very, very good, high quality show that we over deliver to the fans. Tons of legends, tons of lucha guys. Just top notch, balls to the wall show that I think everybody involved is proud of. So yeah, if you feel so inclined, check us out at pcwultra.com. Hit the TV thing, subscribe to our channels, and buy our merch and support any way you can. We really, really appreciate it, and we can live to fight another day.
And if you live in the LA area, definitely come down to that event. I've been to a couple now, and I can say the atmosphere that you guys have where you run is an incredible atmosphere for wrestling. Very good vibe in the building, and the crowd's very hot all night long. So it's well worth the trip out there, even if you have to drive a few hours. And thanks again, and I'll let you close this off with whatever you want to say to the fans.
Absolutely. I want to thank all the fans for their support. I've been wrestling for 23 years. I've been in this business, and I've had a ton of support the entire time. It's been very humbling. I want to tell all the fans that are in the Southern California area and surrounding, PCW Ultra will be here October the 22nd. You can get your tickets at pcwultra.com. We have Ron Simmons, who's going to be in the meet and greet, JTG versus Steve Madison, Juicy Finale versus one called Manders, Viva Vaughn versus Ruby Reyes, Alexander Hammerstone in the main event against Dickinson, Too Cold Scorpio against the Blood Hunter with Kevin Sullivan in his corner. We have the double shot duel, and we have the LAX versus War Beast, myself and Jacob Fatu, for the PCW Ultra Tag Team titles. And if you are not in the surrounding areas, I'm going to let you guys in on something. You are going to see PCW Ultra exclusively on the Hannibal TV.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button.